Hello, and welcome to another book review with Johnny Boy. That's me. And today we are going to discuss Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, and a subtitle, I suppose, Informal Talks on Zen Meditation and Practice by Shunryu Suzuki, or Shunryu Suzuki, depending on your pronunciation. All right, so I like this book a lot. I read it cover to cover, beginning about December, early December maybe, or mid-December. So it took me a month plus to read it, which is usually what I do. I read a little bit at a time of any books. I read multiple books at a time. I did not plan to read this book. This was on my father's shelf. He passed away young and left a bunch of books, including philosophy books. And I did, so anyway, I took a bunch of books down the other day, I don't know, around Christmas time at my mom's, just to look at home and just to, peruse. But this one I just got stuck with. I just decided to read it from cover to cover. It wasn't my plan. It's well made, this book, from a book that was, it says published in 1970. This could have been the 1983 edition, but even still, if it's 83, it's very well made. And I like a lot of my dad's older books are kind of brittle, but this one was made in Japan. It's very sturdy. It's nice to hold. Anyway, this is what Shunryu Suzuki looks like. He was addressing people who want to practice Zen Buddhism in America, I suppose, in the 60s, if it came out in the 1970s, so a little bit before that. So it's not a book that builds on a foundation where like you start from the beginning and you learn something and you get further into it. The main message is always very simple, which is we sit. Zen Buddhists basically sit in Zazen. I'm sitting in, not Zazen, this like folded legged pose, which I use when I do meditation. I can't do the strict Zazen pose as far as I know from what the book recommends, but so I'll explain. So in 2007, I read a good chunk of this book. I skipped around because, like I said, you don't have to read it from the beginning. And I highlighted parts, and I really liked it. And it was kind of new ideas to me at the time because I was very much seeking what my spiritual path would be, attracted to Buddhism and Eastern philosophies, but didn't know what I was going to do. So anyway, it seemed like too much for me at the time. I didn't read the whole book and never really tried to get into meditation practice too strongly at that time. That was 2007. So then 2009, I joined the SGI USA as a practicing Buddhist that chants Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, which is in Nichiren Buddhism. But in that Nichiren Buddhism, we don't focus on meditation. Chanting is like a meditation. It's like a concentration. It's a prayer, but it's not like sitting quietly with your eyes closed or anything like that. And I always wanted that. So I've been incorporating meditation more and more in the past 5 years. And now as I read the book, return to it, or it returned to me, however you want to look at it, I was able to read it cover to cover and basically enjoy the teachings. Teaching about nothingness, how, everything is always kind of seen from both angles, and like the English language itself, or most languages, to talk about anything kind of is already a problem because we have to use dualistic language. This is dark, this is light, when dark and light are always the same thing, and good and bad are the same thing, so we can't even explain it right. So it's meditation that reveals that to us. And so I thought it was very strict in 2007 when I read it, but as I read it this time, like, no, this is very much balanced, the middle path, because they say if you're too strict, then you're going to kind of lose the whole purpose, and you're not going to attain enlightenment. Enlightenment is simply just sitting in zazen. That's kind of something, a point that he reiterates. Enlightenment is not something special, and if you try to look for it as if it's experience, you won't find it. It's when you let go of any ideas of what it is that you might, it will come to you. There are a lot of points. I'll just read you some of the sort of, not chapter titles. I mean, it's chapters, sections, because they're not really long. Here's the artwork that he did. It says, "The Characters for Beginner's Mind in Calligraphy" by Shunryu Suzuki. So I'll at least tell you what beginner's mind means. That in the mind of a beginner, the possibilities are pretty much endless, and there's so much to learn, so much possibility. But in the mind of an expert, the possibilities are few, and there's not so much to learn, because you think you know it all, and you think you already know the answer to something before you even hear the question. It's like, so like I said, I read it in 2007. At that time, I had already achieved a certain mastery of guitar. And so I had a lot of students, and when I thought about this beginner's mind thing, I'm like, oh man, yeah. Like that, I didn't feel like my sort of level of mastery of guitar ruined me or anything, but I did feel that, and I'd been through college, and I just knew a lot of people I knew who had mastered certain things, and it didn't seem to benefit us who mastered anything, because then you become sometimes you become a jerk, or maybe not a jerk, but you just become a little stiff, maybe a little boring. So I didn't want that, so this idea of beginner's mind, just keep it pure, your pure seeking mind, and then you can infinitely expand and grow and learn. And it doesn't have to mean anything. That's something our ego doesn't like. It's just the nature of existence in a way. So, anyway, these are just some things that came to me. You can't explain Zen. And these are kind of feeble attempts by using words. But you have to use something. Otherwise, there's this practice of sitting in meditation, and it's called Zen, and it's a thing. And it's funny. Some people call it a religion. Some people call it's not a religion. It's a way of life. It's nothing special. Like he encourages us, don't come to Zen with high expectations, and don't come to Zen thinking it's going to be this amazing experience. Basically, you come to Zen because you realize it's the most sort of real experience of existence. Nothing else really compares to it. Just sitting in with your breath and in the proper posture, seeing things as they are. That's kind of what I get. Okay, so posture, breathing, control, mind waves, mind weeds. Actually, funny thing, mind weeds, it sounds like, when you meditate, you get these weeds in your mind, you want to get rid of them or something. But he actually kind of explains that mind weeds are a great blessing. It's something like, I forget the logic behind it, but he puts a spin on it that I didn't expect. And that kind of something along the lines that if you could recognize that it's a weed, that's progress to see. And to also not judge that it's a weed versus a flower, because they're part and parcel of the same existence. No dualism. Bowing. That bowing is important, but it's not like you bow to the other person because they're better than you. You bow because you recognize the Buddha nature in the other person, and it's like a mirror. You treat others like a mirror, so you're bowing to your own Buddha nature, which is in actuality bowing to another's Buddha nature, which inspires them to see your Buddha nature. So it's not like a humbling. It is, but it's it's no hierarchical thing about it. It's just a wise approach to life to recognize the Buddha nature of others, and so doing it helps us see our own Buddha nature. Repetition, you just keep coming back and sitting. Study yourself to polish a tile. Constancy. It's like there's this idea of fake it till you make it, and I don't know, in America, in the world, or that require, to do something, you got to put in a lot of effort. You got to, what's the word? No pain, no gain, that type of thing. In this case, it's not that. It's more just constancy. Just keep on showing up with patience, but it's a little more than patience. It's effort and patience, but without like a pushing quality. And then quality of being, naturalness, emptiness, believing in nothing. That's pretty cool. Original Buddhism. But nothing is like, none of these talks or anything you need to remember. You just read it, let it do what it does to you as you read it. And then you just kind of decide if you want to continue with your meditation practice or not. I mean, that was what this guy, he left it 1970, it was published, then he died a month or so after it was published, so at least he got to see his work. And he didn't write it, he just said it, and then someone collected his words and published it. But anyway, it's very understandable for Westerners. If you want to get a taste of what Zen Buddhism is about or what it involves, I do recommend it. Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And this copy, it's got this cool it just, this folds out. That's how sturdy it is. And the paper, it's just this nice kind of, it's not falling apart. I don't know. It's rare that a book very old like that, a paperback, is that solid, but I can't help notice it. Anyway, I enjoyed it. It's mind expanding in a very neutral way. Alrighty. And soul, of course, spiritually expanding as well. Ciao.